Have you ever wondered why some men can say just a few words and instantly capture attention, while others talk endlessly yet leave no impression? It's not about clever lines or rehearsed charm. It's about presence, discipline, and words rooted in conviction. Stoicism teaches that speech reflects the state of the mind. Calm words from a calm soul have a weight no flattery can match. Let me ask you, do you believe women are more drawn to confidence in silence or confidence in speech? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus believed that true power lies not in talking much, but in talking with purpose. When a man speaks sparingly yet with depth, people lean in. His words carry strength because they are backed by clarity and self-control. Women especially notice this difference. They aren't moved by noise, but by meaning. Think about the times you've met someone who didn't try to dominate the conversation, yet when they spoke, everyone listened. That is Stoicism in action, words that are rare but valuable. In relationships, this creates attraction not because you're trying to impress, but because you're centered, deliberate, and confident. In this video, we'll break down the Stoic principles that make speech irresistible and explore the kinds of phrases that show strength without arrogance. By the end, you'll understand why a disciplined tongue is more magnetic than 100 hollow compliments. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to write "Sci Insight" in the comments, so I know you're part of this journey toward deeper understanding. One of the greatest lessons from Stoicism is that fewer words, spoken with intention, hold more power than endless chatter. When a man speaks only after careful thought, every sentence feels deliberate. Women notice this instantly because it signals discipline, self-control, and confidence. Empty talk fades, but words rooted in clarity linger in memory. Think about a crowded conversation. Most people talk over each other, filling silence with noise. Then one person pauses, waits, and speaks just one thoughtful line. Suddenly, the room goes quiet. People lean in, not because he spoke louder, but because he spoke with purpose. This is the Stoic secret. Restraint makes words valuable. Psychologists call this verbal economy, where fewer words increase perceived credibility. Jung might explain it as the integration of the self. Someone who no longer seeks validation through over-talking. The Stoics warned against careless speech, teaching that restraint in language is as important as restraint in action. A practical example is Marcus Aurelius, whose meditations are not long essays but short, powerful reflections. His writings endure precisely because they are brief and focused. In personal relationships, the same principle applies. Words delivered with sincerity and conciseness create deeper impact than endless explanations. The danger of ignoring this truth is that over-talking signals insecurity. A man who tries too hard to impress with words often reveals weakness instead of strength. Women instinctively sense the difference. They are drawn not to the man who speaks the most, but to the one whose words feel rare and intentional. Attraction, then, is less about clever lines and more about inner discipline. When you mean what you say and say only what you mean, your words become irresistible. They are not decoration, they are truth. This is why fewer words from a Stoic man feel more magnetic than a flood of empty promises. The solution is mindfulness in speech. Before you talk, ask, is this necessary? Is it true? Does it add value? If the answer is no, silence is more powerful. This is not weakness, it's strength. Silence framed with presence speaks louder than unnecessary words. So let me ask you, have you ever been more impressed by someone who said little, but said it with weight, than by someone who dominated the conversation? Share your reflections in the comments. Your story might help others see why fewer words often carry the most power. The Stoics believed silence was not emptiness but strength. In a noisy world, the one who stays silent until the right moment naturally commands attention. Women in particular are drawn to men who don't feel the need to fill every gap in conversation. That silence doesn't signal awkwardness. It signals control, and when you finally speak, your words strike deeper because they arrive with purpose. Picture two scenarios. In the first, a man talks constantly, desperate to keep the conversation alive. In the second, another man listens quietly, nods thoughtfully, and then offers one calm observation. The second man wins her attention because his silence builds anticipation. She leans in, waiting for his words. That patience transforms speech into power. Psychologists call this conversational timing, the ability to let pauses do the work. Research shows that silence, when used with confidence, increases authority and respect. Jung would say it reflects individuation. When you're at peace with yourself, you don't need noise to prove your presence. Silence becomes an extension of your self-mastery. A real-world example is leaders who pause before answering questions. That pause signals thought, not hesitation. Their silence communicates that they are processing deeply, not reacting impulsively. In relationships, the same principle applies. Women notice when a man chooses words carefully instead of rushing into speech. The danger, of course, is misunderstanding. Silence without presence can look like indifference, but silence with intention feels magnetic. It's not about saying nothing. It's about making sure that when you do speak, it matters. That distinction is what makes silence powerful rather than cold. Many men fear silence, thinking it will bore or push people away. But used correctly, silence invites curiosity. It gives the other person space to open up, and it ensures that your eventual words carry the weight of attention. It's not about withholding, it's about timing. To practice this, pay attention to conversations. Instead of rushing to reply, let there be a pause. Breathe, reflect, and then respond. Over time, people will notice that when you do speak, it feels more deliberate, more meaningful. This is the Stoic art of silence turned into strength. So let me ask you, do you think silence is more uncomfortable or more powerful in conversations? Share your answer in the comments, because how you view silence may reveal whether you've already tapped into this Stoic advantage. Emotions are powerful, but uncontrolled emotions are chaotic. Stoicism teaches that mastery over your emotional responses creates magnetism. A man who stays composed under pressure projects confidence and stability, qualities that women instinctively notice. When your voice remains calm, even in tense situations, it signals strength without aggression. Imagine a heated discussion in a social setting. One man raises his voice, reacts impulsively, and tries to dominate the conversation. Another man keeps a steady tone, listens carefully, and responds with measured words. Which one draws respect? The latter. Emotional control doesn't mean being cold. It means your presence is grounding, a safe space amid chaos. Science backs this up. Research on emotional intelligence shows that people with high emotional regulation are perceived as more attractive, trustworthy, and competent. Your calm demeanor conveys maturity. Jung would argue that controlling your emotional reactions demonstrates a developed ego, one that is not enslaved by impulses. The difference between reacting and responding is critical. Reacting is immediate, often loud or defensive. Responding is deliberate. It shows awareness and thoughtfulness. Women are drawn to men who respond rather than react because it shows mental clarity and inner balance. Think about situations in daily life. A stressful conversation with friends or dealing with criticism at work. A calm voice diffuses tension. commands attention and earns respect. It creates an impression that you are in control of both your inner world and the environment around you. The key is practice. Before speaking, take a breath, pause, and center yourself. Avoid letting anger, anxiety, or frustration dictate your tone. Over time, your consistent calmness becomes a signal to others, especially women, that you are reliable, self-aware, and emotionally resilient. Yet caution is needed. Emotional control is not suppression. Bottling feelings indefinitely leads to stress and burnout. Stoicism teaches expression through awareness, not avoidance. Share your feelings wisely, calmly, and with timing, and they carry weight instead of chaos. Ultimately, your calm voice does more than communicate words. It communicates stability, intelligence, and self-command. In a world where impulsivity is common, your composed presence becomes magnetic. Women notice, respect, and are drawn to this rare balance. Confidence is magnetic, but arrogance repels. Stoicism emphasizes self-assurance rooted in reality, not exaggeration or showmanship. A man who knows his worth, yet doesn't boast, exudes a subtle charm women instinctively notice. This isn't about bragging. It's about silent assurance, a quiet energy that fills the room. Consider social interactions. A confident man can enter a room without dominating it, greet people naturally, and express opinions without needing validation. Contrast this with someone who constantly seeks approval or exaggerates achievements. Women are drawn to the former because true confidence feels secure, not threatening. Psychological studies support this. Research shows that moderate self-confidence is universally attractive, while overconfidence triggers skepticism. Confidence signals competence, decisiveness, and emotional stability. It shows that a person can handle challenges without being overbearing. Stoicism teaches that self-worth should come from inner virtues, not external praise. When a man focuses on improving himself, his skills, and his values, he naturally radiates confidence. This internal security translates into social interactions that feel authentic and appealing. An everyday example. At a dinner or group gathering, confident men share opinions calmly and listen actively. They avoid interrupting or dominating conversations. This balance demonstrates that they respect others while still asserting themselves, a trait women subconsciously find attractive. Nonverbal cues amplify confidence. Posture, eye contact, and calm gestures communicate self-assurance without words. Standing tall, speaking clearly, and maintaining composure signals that you are in control, not desperate for approval. Subtlety in body language often communicates more than words ever can. Importantly, confidence without arrogance doesn't ignore humility. Stoicism emphasizes understanding one's limitations and being willing to learn. Admitting mistakes or gaps in knowledge doesn't weaken your presence. It strengthens it, showing maturity and authenticity. Ultimately, true confidence is quiet yet undeniable. It's the invisible force that draws attention, fosters respect, and attracts women naturally. By practicing self-awareness, emotional regulation, and genuine competence, you develop a charm that speaks volumes without needing to shout. Listening is a skill that many underestimate, yet it can be one of the most attractive traits a man possesses. Women are naturally drawn to those who make them feel heard and understood. Stoicism teaches the value of restraint, knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. This balance creates a presence that feels thoughtful and intentional. When a man truly listens, he demonstrates empathy and respect. It's not just about hearing words, it's about understanding the emotions behind them. This subtle attentiveness signals that you value the person's perspective, making interactions feel more meaningful and intimate. Consider a social scenario. During a conversation, A man who asks insightful questions and listens actively without interrupting is far more appealing than someone who dominates the discussion. Women notice the difference immediately. It shows patience, intelligence, and emotional maturity. Science supports this. Studies in social psychology reveal that active listening increases perceived attractiveness and trustworthiness. Silence paired with attentive gestures like nodding or maintaining eye contact reinforces that you're fully engaged, which subconsciously enhances your appeal. Stoicism reinforces this idea by emphasizing self-control over speech. Avoiding unnecessary chatter, gossip, or boasting not only respects your own energy, but also creates space for others to express themselves. Women sense this calm composure and are drawn to it instinctively. An example in daily life. During a casual meetup, a man who listens carefully to a woman's story, responds thoughtfully, and doesn't rush to share his own experiences creates an unspoken connection. This attentive silence builds trust and intrigue simultaneously. Nonverbal communication strengthens this effect. Facial expressions, body orientation, and subtle affirmations signal attentiveness without saying a word. Women subconsciously interpret these cues as indicators of emotional intelligence and reliability. Ultimately, mastering the art of listening isn't just about attraction. It's about fostering genuine connection. Silence becomes a tool that communicates understanding, confidence, and respect, making a man irresistibly magnetic without the need for grand gestures or words. Humor is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction, and when used thoughtfully, it can make a man instantly more attractive. Stoicism teaches control over reactions and words, and humor, when applied with subtlety, aligns perfectly with this principle. It's not about over-the-top jokes. It's about timing, wit, and understanding the context. A well-placed, lighthearted comment can break tension and create a comfortable atmosphere. Women are drawn to men who can make them feel relaxed and joyful because laughter releases endorphins, which strengthen positive emotional connections. It's a natural way to bond without force or pretense. Consider the difference between crude humor and intelligent humor. Intelligent humor demonstrates awareness, creativity, and emotional intelligence. For example, a man who playfully teases in a kind, observant way signals confidence and attentiveness while still maintaining respect. This balance is irresistible. Psychological research supports this. Studies show that humor enhances perceived intelligence and social competence. When a man uses humor thoughtfully, it signals that he is socially aware and emotionally secure, traits that women find deeply attractive. In real-life interactions, humor can be used to connect subtly. For instance, sharing a witty observation about a shared situation, or making a gentle, playful comment on a casual topic, allows for laughter without forcing it. It's about making the interaction enjoyable, not performing for approval. Stoicism also reinforces the use of humor as a measured tool. Avoid sarcasm that harms, jokes that degrade, or humor that depends on overreaction. Instead, use humor to lighten moods and reflect your calm, confident demeanor. Women sense this control and stability, which enhances your allure. Nonverbal cues support the humor's impact. A genuine smile, relaxed posture, and eye contact make jokes feel authentic and inclusive. Women respond to this authenticity instinctively, as it communicates trustworthiness and a sense of safety. Ultimately, mastering the art of humor is about subtlety, timing, and emotional intelligence. When a man can make a woman laugh naturally, he demonstrates confidence, awareness, and connection. Humor becomes a silent language of attraction, reinforcing both charm and compatibility without needing grand gestures. Understanding what genuinely attracts women is not about tricks or superficial tactics. It's about self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and consistency. Throughout this series, we've explored how words, actions, and subtle behaviors communicate confidence and depth. Stoicism teaches us to remain composed, intentional, and authentic, which naturally makes us more appealing. Attraction begins with clarity and communication. Knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to say it without overreacting or seeking validation sets a man apart. Women respond to sincerity, humor, and calm authority because these traits indicate security and self-respect. Each chapter highlighted practical ways to convey these qualities, from subtle compliments to thoughtful humor. Equally important is understanding nonverbal influence. Your presence, posture, and facial expressions often speak louder than words. By combining Stoic control with genuine engagement, you create an aura of stability and confidence that women instinctively notice and appreciate. This isn't manipulation. It's the natural effect of a grounded, self-aware personality. Consistency over time is what solidifies attraction. Temporary gestures may catch attention, but lasting appeal comes from habitual behaviors that reflect emotional strength, respect, and integrity. Whether it's through humor, listening actively, or expressing yourself with measured words, these habits build a foundation of trust and admiration. In conclusion, mastering attraction isn't about shortcuts. It's about aligning your inner character with outward expression. By applying Stoic principles thoughtfully, you cultivate a presence that resonates deeply and meaningfully. Women are drawn not just to words, but to the calm confidence, intelligence, and authenticity you carry in every interaction.